My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect all those years, and never so. No matter what I was doing, I was just the same as everybody else, trying to make life work, with one extra malady maybe at the time, and that was an addiction to alcohol. And I don't know when I crossed the line and became an addict. And I feel like sometimes it must have been the first one where it changed my feelings. So why do I do these videos? Just to share experience, strength and hope about what it's like to be in recovery, to keep on going one day at a time, and not to get back in the malady, back in the problem of drink itself. So what helps me most is going to the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for it, there is nobody speaking for it, it is just a fellowship, and the preamble which is shared at every meeting gives the clue to what it's all about. And here it is. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So really what I'm doing in these videos is sharing my experience, strength and hope, what the fellowship does for me on a daily basis. And it does keep me in a place of sobriety. And the primary tradition which is implicit in this is anybody can join AA if they have a desire not to drink just for today. And that's it. That's the joining requirement, just a desire not to drink a day at a time. And what the fellowship gives me is a 12-step action program to help me understand how to be open, willing and honest to make changes in my attitude and behaviour. So simply it's about changing my attitude and behaviour on a daily basis. And the 12 steps of action, they're not just 12 steps to know, action steps to make life work a little bit better on a daily basis. And in this book here, which is called Daily Reflections, each month is devoted really to one of the 12 steps. So we're in February, last day of the month, step 2, came to believe a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And sanity, however was I sane to be living all those years, 35, as a drinker, probably doing things to please other people and to make life look right rather than be right. And I don't think for a moment, and don't feel for a moment, I've actually wasted any time whatsoever. Maybe I needed all of those 35 years to understand I need to follow my destiny, whatever that might be, without drink inside me. And if I don't have a drink inside me, I have more choice in each day to make better decisions and to ask and include others in my decision-making process. I don't live in isolation, and that's where drink took me. So, yes, where do I want to start? I'll start with the daily reflections for today. And it says, for 28th of February, it says, what, no president? When told that our society has no president having authority to govern it, no treasurer who can compel the payment of any dues, our friends gasp and exclaim, this simply cannot be. When I finally made my way to AA, I could not believe there was no treasurer to compel the payment of dues. I could not imagine an organisation that didn't require monetary contributions in return for a service. It was my first and thus far only experience with getting something for nothing. Because I did not feel used or conned by those in AA, I was able to approach the programme free from bias and with an open mind. They wanted nothing from me. What could I lose? I thank God for the wisdom of the early founders who knew so well the alcoholic's disdain for being manipulated. And that's true, because most of our lives we were spending our time manipulating our outlook to stop us from drinking and stop us probably from progressing in a way which is more healthy for us. And this thing of, there are no dues or fees for AA membership is so important. It is self-supporting through contributions made by people who go to meetings. And you don't have to put any money in the hat, as it were. And why should you? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fellowship where people try to keep well. and just pay the rent for the room they're using and for the tea and coffee which is consumed. And if there's anything extra, it goes into buying literature and stuff like that, just simple things. And I was a skeptic all the way through, so no dues or fees. There you go. And in this book, As Bill Sees It, which I refer to quite a lot, there's a daily reading in this, and at page 40, Material Achievement. No member of AA wants to deprecate material achievement, nor do we enter into a debate with many who cling to the belief that to satisfy our basic natural desires is the main object of life. But we are sure no class of people in the world ever made a worse mess of trying to live by this formula than alcoholics. We demanded more than our fair share of security, prestige and romance. When we seemed to be succeeding, we drank to dream still greater dreams. When we were frustrated, even in part, we drank for oblivion. In all these strivings, so many of them well-intentioned, our crippling handicap was our lack of humility. We lacked the perspective to see that character building and spiritual values had to come first, and that the material satisfactions were simply byproducts and not the chief aims of life. So it's really saying, without any equivocation, that the program is a spiritual program, and that what is spiritual? You know, what is spiritual? And I'm going to a meeting at lunchtime, and we share about the spiritual experience and what it might be. And actually, it's whatever your spiritual experience is, and it's in this book, Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book. And at the back it has an appendix 2 called The Spiritual Experience, which I'll read if I've got time. And it says here, the terms spiritual experience and spiritual awakening are used many times in this book. Upon careful reading, shows that the personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism has manifested itself amongst us in many different forms. Yet it is true that our first printing gave many readers the impression that these personality changes or religious experiences must be in the nature of a sudden and spectacular upheaval. Happily for everyone, this conclusion is erroneous. In the first few chapters, a number of sudden revolutionary changes are described. Though it was not our intention to create such an impression, many alcoholics have nevertheless concluded that in order to recover, they must acquire an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness, followed at once by a vast change in feeling and outlook. That wasn't for me. Among our rapidly growing membership of thousands of alcoholics, such transformations, though frequent, are by no means the rule. Most of our experience is what the psychologist William James calls the educational variety, because they develop slowly over a period of time. Quite often friends of the newcomer are aware of the difference long before he is himself, and true of me too, my family saw the difference before I did. He finally realises that he has undergone a profound alteration in his reaction to life, that such a change could hardly have been brought about by himself alone. Same for me. With few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource, which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. Most of us think this awareness of a power greater than ourselves is the essence of spiritual experience. Our more religious members call it God consciousness. Most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic capable of honestly facing his problems in the light of our experience can recover, provided he does not close his mind to all spiritual concepts. He can only be defeated by an attitude of intolerance and belligerent denial. We find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. Willingness, honesty and open-mindedness are essentials of recovery, but these are indispensable. And it goes on to say, there is a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation. Herbert Spencer. And I've nearly run out of time on this video. So that spiritual experience for me, to be open, honest and willing to see what can be in this one day. Spiritual is right here, right now. It's a gift everybody has, to see reality as it is, if only we could take away those denials and filters, and those resentments. So, what do I say at the end of these videos often? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, just one day at a time.